It was a frigid Friday night in late November, the kind of cold that sticks to your bones, where even your breath feels heavy. Chicago winds howled between buildings like ghosts in mourning. Leah Foster, 28, a night shift nurse at Mercy General, had just finished a brutal 14-hour shift. Her scrubs smelled of antiseptic and old coffee, her feet ached, and her head throbbed with the kind of dull pain that caffeine couldn't fix. She stood at the bus stop on Harrison and Loomis, staring down at her phone. 11:48 p.m. She'd missed her regular ride by 6 minutes. The next Route 7 wouldn't arrive until 1:20 a.m. Her Uber app kept throwing up surge pricing warnings, and her last $23 wasn't going to cover the fare home to her apartment in Logan Square. That's when she saw it. A bus. Not hers, but convenient. Its headlights cut through the fog like white knives, slowing down right in front of her. The digital sign above the windshield glitched as it approached, flickering between symbols and then finally landing on greater than Route 13-Logan. Loop Leah blinked. She'd never heard of Route 13. In fact, she was pretty sure it didn't exist. Chicago Transit didn't run anything numbered above 12. But the chill was biting, and the alternative was standing in the cold for another hour and a half. The doors hissed open. The driver was a gaunt man, wearing a dark uniform without any logos. No name tag, just his eyes, deep, sunken, and locked onto her, like he'd been expecting her. "This one's going your way," he rasped. Leah hesitated. "Logan Square?" she asked. A slight nod. She stepped inside. The interior smelled like dust and ozone. The overhead lights buzzed faintly. Only a few passengers sat scattered throughout. A man in a trench coat, humming to himself. A teenage girl, scribbling furiously in a notepad. And a woman near the back with her head slumped low, face hidden behind curtain-like hair. The doors hissed shut, and the bus pulled away. As they drove through the fog-choked streets, Leah checked her phone. No service. She sighed and looked out the window, but something was wrong. The city wasn't right. Buildings looked abandoned. Storefronts were boarded up, covered in graffiti she didn't recognize. Streetlights flickered unnaturally, casting shadows that seemed to move after the bus had passed them. The humming man began tapping the back of his seat. A rhythmic pattern. Tap, 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 pause. Tap, tap, tap. She shifted uneasily. "Hey," she said to him. "You okay?" He didn't stop tapping, but his eyes met hers. Cold. Dead. Almost as if they weren't really eyes at all, just something wearing them. "Don't talk on the bus," he whispered. Leah turned forward quickly, heart thumping. She noticed now. There was no signage, no ads, no safety instructions, just a long strip of black where posters usually went. Then the girl with the notebook suddenly stood up, walked to the front, and faced the driver. "I want off," she said. The driver didn't answer. "I said I want off." Still nothing. She began to scream. "Let me off this damn thing!" The bus jerked violently. The lights went out when they came back on 2 seconds later. The girl was gone. Leah shot to her feet. What the hell? Where did she... But the man in the trench coat just stared forward, still tapping. The woman with the curtain of hair hadn't moved, and the driver was smiling. Not at her. At the mirror above, watching her through it. Leah backed up into her seat, breathing heavy. Her heart pounded in her ears. 12:07 a.m. The bus made a sharp turn, not into Logan Square, but into a dark alley. There were no buildings, just thick fog, heavy shadows, and Trees? There are no trees in downtown, she whispered. The bus continued. Its tires creaked on gravel. The headlights didn't reach far. Shapes moved in the fog, tall, thin, watching. Suddenly, the woman in the back stood. Leah finally saw her face. It wasn't right. Too long. Too pale. Mouth stretched wider than it should have. She opened it and screamed. Not a human scream. Not fear. A signal. The lights burst. The bus rocked. The driver howled. And the bus plummeted forward into darkness. When Leah opened her eyes, everything was silent. She was still on the bus, but something had changed. The windows were completely blacked out, as though the world outside had vanished. The lights inside the bus were now a dim, sickly red. And the other passengers? Gone. Even the driver's seat was empty. Leah stood up slowly. Her heart pounded so hard she could feel it in her ears. Her phone still showed no signal. The battery now flashed a bizarre percentage, 13%. She hadn't even used it. Something had shifted. She walked down the aisle, gripping seat backs to steady herself. A low hum echoed through the interior like 1,000 whispers beneath her feet. Her breath fogged the air even inside. The temperature had dropped drastically. Then the doors creaked open. Leah hesitated. Beyond the threshold was a landscape that didn't belong in any city. The bus had stopped in a forest clearing beneath a bruised red sky. The trees were gnarled and leafless, shaped like skeletal hands. Fog slithered along the ground. No wind, no birds, no sound. Yet she felt watched. A wooden sign stood ahead, half buried in ash. "Welcome to Greymouth. Dead stops only." She stepped off the bus, legs trembling. The moment her feet touched the cracked dirt, the door behind her slammed shut. The bus screeched away, tires spitting smoke and ash, disappearing into the fog like a ghost train. "Wait! No, stop!" she screamed, running after it. But it was gone. Only silence remained. Leah spun in place, desperate for orientation. The forest was dense, unnatural. The trees leaned toward her like eavesdropping. She spotted a path winding ahead toward a crooked gate in the distance. She had no choice. She followed it. The walk felt like hours, but her watch said only 5 minutes had passed. The gate led into what looked like a forgotten town square. Cobblestone ground, gas lamps flickering faintly. Buildings lined the edges, old-timey shops, a chapel, a diner, but everything was off. Windows cracked, doors hanging loose, signs in English, but misspelled or reversed. One shop was called T3 Watcher's Eye. It was like a town pulled from a memory or a nightmare. At the center stood a bus stop bench, and seated on it, smiling gently, was the girl with the notebook. Leah gasped. What happened to you? Are you okay?" The girl looked up, her eyes strangely empty. "They let me off," she said, voice flat. "But you're not supposed to be here." "What do you mean?" "You boarded without an invitation. That's dangerous." Leah stepped back. "What the hell is this place? Where am I?" The girl closed her notebook and stood. "This is one of the dead stops. You can't leave unless they allow it, and they don't allow many." "They?" But the girl was already walking away, vanishing into the fog between two buildings. Leah turned, frantic now. She called out. No answer. She tried the diner. Its door creaked open with resistance. Inside, everything was still. Booths covered in cobwebs, a jukebox that kept playing the same broken snippet of Elvis's "Can't Help Falling in Love" on loop. Behind the counter, a man stood frozen, like a mannequin, mouth open, eyes vacant, yet his hand moved very slowly back and forth, cleaning an already clean glass. "Excuse me?" Leah said. The man's head snapped toward her like a marionette. "You shouldn't be here." "I know that. Please, I need to get back. Can you help me?" He leaned in. "They only let you off at the final stop, the real final stop." "What does that mean?" His face twitched. "You'll see." Then his hand shattered, glass and all like porcelain. Leah screamed and bolted out of the diner. She ran down the street, tears stinging her eyes. The fog grew thicker. Shadows danced just outside her peripheral vision, long-limbed figures darting between buildings. She stumbled into the church, slamming the heavy door behind her. Inside, dozens of people sat in pews, motionless, silent, eyes wide open. A man at the pulpit stood with his arms raised, head tilted back. "Brothers and sisters, we ride until the end," he said in a deep, broken voice. "No transfers, no refunds." Leah's scream came out as a whisper. All the figures turned to her in perfect sync. "New passenger," they said in unison. Leah bolted again. Outside, the gas lamps were dimming. She ran until she reached a wall of fog that felt solid. She couldn't go further. Then, behind her, she heard the sound that made her blood freeze. The bus was coming back, but it didn't sound like before. Its engine roared like a beast. Headlights were now glowing red. The sign above it didn't say Route 13 anymore. It said, "Last chance. Board or be taken." The door cracked open. This time the driver was different. His face was completely blank. No features, just smooth, pale skin. Yet he gestured. "Your seat is ready," he whispered, without a mouth. Leah stepped forward slowly, trembling. "What happens if I get back on?" she asked. He said nothing, but her instincts screamed at her. "This ride is your only way back." She turned one last time to look at the town behind her, the chapel, the diner, the watching figures, all now approaching, arms outstretched. She had no choice. She ran onto the bus. As the doors closed and the vehicle pulled into motion, Leah collapsed into her seat, gasping. Somewhere deep in her chest, a sliver of hope ignited. "If someone ever sees this," she whispered, pulling out her phone, "if you ever hear about a strange bus route at midnight, don't get on it." She hit record, her hands shaking. "Subscribe. Save yourself. They're always watching." The whispering began again, and the bus plunged into blackness.